word that you're sharing. If you've ever leveraged Google Home, Alexa, it's listening to every single word that you're talking about. Your phone is recording every single word that we're sitting here talking about. It just simply is tied to artificial intelligence, telling it when it should trigger and when it should wake up. But yet it hears every single word. It's doing that because it's running against an algorithm that's going to constantly apply intelligence, because by 2030, we believe that we'll be able to tie your cognitive brainwaves to the cloud to help you analyze and make decisions much, much faster. That is a constant refinement strategy of how we listen and how we apply all these disparate data sets, but we have to listen and collect all these data elements. $30 billion a year is invested to continue to drive those innovations. But yet, this goes back to my first slide. In our consumer life, we love it. But the real question is it applied today in our actual professional lives? And the answer is, it's out there, but more times than not, we fundamentally look past it. We don't recognize that AI is already alive in almost every single industry today. Companies have begun to adopt and deploy artificial intelligence in very meaningful ways. If you look at manufacturing adopts 10% more robotics every single year on a global basis, but the artificial intelligence that actually governs it is not just the software code, it's the human interaction with robotics. We're teaching the robotics to adapt, and every year we add 10% more on a global basis. We're constantly moving people into the workforce, but we're teaching the robots at the same time. It is underpinning of artificial intelligence. Healthcare. The replacement of organs is far more effective today, because if you do a heart transplant, what people are doing is they're fundamentally creating a duplicate view of the heart. They can see it in 4 dimensions. They can spin it around. They can understand it. For as little as $20,000, children are having heart transplants at a higher success rate because they fundamentally can see all avenues associated with it. Tied back to robotics, the doctors are sitting at machines through robotics looking at 4D images associated with the transplants and what they're applying. We invest in hospitals constantly because this is the future of connected-based medicine, is how far can we actually see and refine the science associated with medicine. If I take it a step further, and you think about robotics, farming and molecular science has been leveraging deep-based learning. Every single plant, 10,000 images. 10,000 images per plant, literally dissecting. Does it need water? Does it need nutrients? Does it have bacteria? And they treat it one by one. The production environment is growing, but the robot looks nothing like any farm equipment that you probably have seen before. It's run diagnostically far, far away. If you look at another example in mining, autonomous driving quarry equipment is saving lives, but yet the productivity is 4x. So you think about large dump trucks. The people are driving Caterpillar dump trucks at 1,100 miles away. It's artificial-based intelligence. If I take it one more, retinopathy. Look, if you're like me, you're probably starting to need eyeglasses. The deep-based learning to actually begin to analyze from one person to the next to fundamentally begin to refine the science associated with predictive care of the eyes is moving forward light years. Every 2 years, the degree by which they can begin to predict and improve eye care is doubling. That's a very positive thing for each and every one of us. But if I take this and I begin to think about where is it going, AlphaGo, Go is a 3,000-year-old Chinese game. Many of you may not have played it, but if I help you understand the magnitude of how challenging this game is, There's more moves in this one game than there are atoms in the universe. It's very, very complex. AlphaGo is an algorithm that was created out of unstructured data. The machine that you see here literally began to play unstructured moves. It didn't have data that was actually put into it. It literally began to apply moves to see where it made mistakes. Year by year, in 4 days, it played 19.5 million times. And what it began to identify is through mistake, it became self-taught. So it played the version from 1 year prior and beat it 100 times to 0. 100 times to 0. Then it got its ability to compete from 40 days down to 3 days and still beat it 100 times to 0. It took unstructured data and began to apply it to the compute speed to learn and apply it. And why this is critical for us is because when you think about artificial intelligence, it is moving towards self-taught because the compute speed is actually there. The brain power is there by which we're putting these things in motion, but it's all an enormous opportunity to solve some of the world's most catastrophic problems. Energy consumption, water utilization, population. Nothing's being applied in a manner that actually isn't against the most meaningful things that actually will impact the United Nations of the world coming together, fundamentally tackling some of these things. That's where we're investing this time. But if you begin to apply it a little bit step further, one of the things that you will begin to identify is artificial intelligence in the next 3 years is going to greatly accelerate mass personalization. Each and every one of us will literally begin to have that effect of where you think about the consumer elements being highly tailored to you. Very, very customized. All these technologies coming together. Real-time customization. Clothing, retail, cars. If you want to see something where this is happening, the banks of the future and ATMs and branches are already leveraging augmented reality where you come in and you talk, there's not a person. But you interact as though it's fully there. All of your capabilities are there. The car dealership of the future has nothing in it. You're simply interacting all from your house. So if I was to look at this and I bring it back to us, what is it, some things that you begin to do? Most people fundamentally view this all as a technical solution, not as a business solution first and foremost. The companies, the automotive companies that I used as a reference, Apple, Google, the others, they don't start from a technical element, they start from what is it that is the business element. Tell me what the technology will do, but help me understand the business element that I'm after. Don't overthink it. Start with the near-term things that you can begin to automate, refine, aggregate many disparate sources of data and start to automate those processes and refine them. Don't solve for world hunger. Get it started. But execute, 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 just like in the AlphaGo Zero. Played it many, many times, helping it learn and refine from how it was going to do it. So I'll leave you with something that I started with. We as consumers love the notion of artificial intelligence. In the business world, we fundamentally begin to fear it. Technology is not going to slow down. It's going to do nothing but accelerate. But if we don't control how we're going to leverage technology, it will become a problem. But it's not meant to replace humans. It is not meant to be a competitive threat to humans. It is meant to actually do exactly what this quote says, enhance human capabilities. But when you look at that, my role and how I look at Cisco's role is, if we don't all fundamentally begin to act upon reimagining work and reimagining the value, we'll miss what artificial intelligence and all of these technical advances will mean to us. But this is your challenge, is to act today, to reimagine work, to reimagine the value. But don't make the mistakes that I've highlighted here. Understand that myth is reality. It's here today. It's not a bespoke technology. It is highly integrated into how you're going to redefine work. And with that, I'd like to thank you, and I hope that you have a wonderful Web Summit.